One of the things that seems really kind of sneaky, although it's got it did pick up a lot of press. So I'm sure the audience has heard this. Maybe they haven't. Maybe they have. But a lot of global news had a piece on it. National Post, for sure. Actually, those are the two mainstream ones, and of course Al Jazeera, which pretty much reports on everything. All saying the same thing, is that Justin Trudeau has approved the sale of military equipment to Saudi Arabia. Woohoo! Now, it was all, you'll recall the murder of, what's his name? Canadian
Jamal
journalist.
I'm not
even Jamal Khashoggi.
I would totally get that wrong. Anybody who's watched any of our shows realize that me saying names wrong that's my thing.
Yeah, we do apologize profusely, unless you're a horrible person. And I don't think no one's been that horrible.
No, nobody.
And the ones that are horrible I can pronounce, so that's bad. Anyway.
No. Nobody. Okay, I'm going to go on the record. Nobody who's been on our show, who watches our show, who I have said your name wrong. I cannot conclusively prove that you're a horrible person. I'm just terrible.
No, sorry, I was again a little sidetrack there, but I was talking about the people we're talking about, not the people that are watching us. So, all deeply sorry when we do mess up your names, and we do so, and we'll keep apologizing, even though it's kind of annoying when people apologize for saying names wrong.
It's just a Canadian thing to do.
Right. So this actually kind of went through really quick. Was there's actually quite a little deep thing if you want to dig into it. It's kind of almost maddening, and it's almost as if Justin Trudeau was stuck in a corner. But the long and short of it is that Saudi Arabia have an atrocious human rights record. They crucify people on the streets. They were beheading a woman for driving, I think. I got that wrong. Maybe she was just imprisoned. But we're talking capital punishment for tiny things. And that's not to count that they are actively bombing and committing war crimes, bombing civilians in Yemen with Canadian military equipment. And it's been proven that even though they claim, oh no, our equipment's not being used in Yemen and these other places. In fact, some of the watchdogs are saying yes, they are. Now, this is a $14 billion contract to export light armored vehicles, and made by a Toronto-based company called General Dynamics and Land Systems. Now, it was the deal was brokered in 2014. Justin Trudeau, when he took power, I think ratified it is the right word, but finished it off.
They basically completed it so that it became law.
There we go. Completed it is a better word than finishing it off, because that has other connotations. But now, as I'm looking at this, I'm just really, really pissed off at this, thinking, well, we're supposed to be peacekeepers. Although, if we could probably go into how little peacekeeping and how much imperialism we've been involved in as a nation in another episode. But I was actually kind of disgusted. Well, because it was such a public thing. They dismembered this person in the consulates in Istanbul, the Saudi consulate in Istanbul, and which brought light to, or at least attention to, these other issues. Now, what's actually going on in the background is a rather complex free trade kind of deal, like a trade deal. Mm-hmm. Now, if Canada had stopped it, Saudi Arabia could potentially sue Canada for billions of dollars. How insane is that? Is that we can't? I mean, it would be like the British saying, "Oh no, sorry, Hitler, we're not going to keep this contract for whatever we're supplying you for because you're atrocious." Oh no, but they can sue us for billions and billions of pounds. Right? It's why are we allowing ourselves into these kinds of deals? It's beyond it beggars logic.
Yeah, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. And there was it just really makes me scratch my head. It was like, is he trying to is he trying to cut out like this whole U.S. oil thing? Is he trying to, in a roundabout way, snub his nose at the U.S. because we've been paying inflated oil prices for way too long, and Saudi's got a lot of oil? How do you even sleep at night saying like, okay, well, Saudi Arabia is going to flood the market so we get cheaper oil and we can import export a lot easier with them, but all it cost was, $1 billion worth of military hardware and the lives of people in Yemen. And that's the part that gets me, is like that you would even consider trading with somebody who would for whatever reason has justified the idea of bombing human beings. Oh wow, I've got a funny face.
All together now. Okay. Yeah, you got to drop MTS. MTS internet's horrible.
Yeah, no, I'm not particularly too fond of them at this moment in time. Not because I look like an idiot. I don't need their help making it.
Yeah, maybe if I.
Yeah, there we go. I'm just gonna.
There we go.
You go ahead, Mark. I've done my rant. I'm gonna tweak my video settings here, so I'm not.
Yeah, actually, I just flipped between the between the Chrome and the OBS. So I think that maybe that's what throws it. Might be a coincidence. But yeah, feel free to tweak. We're good. Now, one of the other things that's, and I'm really kind of tired of hearing this too, is the argument was, oh, this could be hundreds of thousands of jobs lost. No, it's a stupid argument, because the Canadian military also need light armored vehicles. We have someone they could potentially sell them to, and that's one of the critics. Not critiques, but one of the critics that said this. I'm trying to find how much the jobs are, but I didn't write that particular stat down. I just got a little annoyed when I saw jobs. Well, okay, well, as long as someone's got a job and they can pay their rent and buy cable, let's murder a few 100,000 civilians, men, women, and children.
Yeah.
Bomb hospitals and whatever else they're doing. Anyhow.
Oh yeah. And just their human rights record, Saudi's human rights record, like it's something like right out of a spy novel, where it's like, hey, I don't like the government, and that guy's gone like the next day. You'll never see him again. You'll never find the body, because that guy's not. They're not just putting him in prison. They're just, he's dead, right?
Yeah. You
don't speak out against like the Shah in Saudi Arabia or whoever it is in control now. You don't. And the idea of like gender roles and strict, very orthodox conservative religious beliefs, to the point where you're not allowing women to drive, like that just is beyond. That's beyond even the most. I know some very conservative right wingers, and every one of their wives drives. Like every single one of them. So it doesn't flow. It's and for him to come out and be like, in the beginning when he first was elected, and he's got like shirts that is like, this is what a feminist looks like, and I believe in a feminist, and I've got a humanitarian wife, and I think that they mean well, but then all of a sudden to turn around and do a backdoor deal like that, that's got to make some awkward conversations across a table at Redo College right now, because here's his wife, who's outspoken humanitarian, and I think has the greatest of intentions, and he just essentially sold weapons to a warlord.
Yep.
And just wow is all I can say.
Yeah, and even from a moral point of view, selling weapons is an odd thing to be selling, but it's also odd, particularly how fickle the world is and can be. That why would you sell weapons to somebody who could potentially be an enemy in 10 years, right?
Yeah,
it's kind of insane.
I want to put a point in. Yes, they could be in there. Shalim has posted a great comment, as he often does. Saudis are not exactly a shining example of human rights champions, it's okay to criticize them, but you can't say boo about Israel, who also violates human rights. You have no idea.
Here.
I agree with you 100%, Shaleem. That absolutely has to be said. And there's something about this right-wing conservative Christian movement that's in the West that says Israel is like the promised land, and yet they have no problem beating the hell out of people, imprisoning them, raping, doing all these things. And then they have the media resources to say, hey, look at how bad these Palestinians are. They're throwing rocks at us. Like, man, you've got like a carbine in your hand and body armor. Like, and they're throwing rocks. Like, you can't oppress these people any more than what you're already doing them. You treat them like garbage. You pen them up like animals, and you're surprised that they're revolting. You're surprised that they're throwing rocks at you when you batter them. You're surprised when you treat them like garbage that they're acting antisocial. Like, yeah, okay, you know what? I have a faith background. I understand what Israel means to people in their faith. Modern Israel is not biblical Israel. All right? Let's clear that out. That's not it. And I don't think you can find in Scripture, if you read it objectively, that that's how it should be, because it's absolutely not. It flies in the face of like so many Levitical laws. It flies in the face of like so many different even commandments.
International
like, it just
law.
Doesn't make sense.
There's war crimes going on there. And I just wanted to
that's
actually
exactly what it is.
we are a bit off topic, but I think it's kind of worth saying is I can't really speak about what the Jews are expecting with the temple, but Christians are expecting the Temple Mount to be built once again on Mount Zion, hence the term Zionists. Just a little playful fact: Mount Zion isn't where the Temple Mount is. That's Mount Moriah. Mount Zion is on the other side. It's the mountain opposite. There's no temple on it. Go build one there. We don't need this fighting. So the whole joke, we always find that's hilarious. You're on the wrong mountain. Go over the other side of the city. Anyhow, I don't know enough about all of that to really comment any more than that.
Yeah,
my Bible school, my Bible school education taught me something.
So, I know lots of amazing Jewish immigrants, people who've immigrated here. I know lots of Palestinians and different types of immigrants who've come from that area of the world, all just people trying to make their way in the world just like the rest of us. Come over here to a place that's safe. We'll take you. Yep. Please come.
This is the back door to the Manitoba legislature. Now, if you hit the subscribe button now, hit the notification bell, then you won't be surprised when they try to stick something up your back door.